how Docker actually works. Let's get to know about the modern software deployment, which is the Docker. So let's go on to the further slides. So the main reason why Docker has been created is due to the universal deployment problem. The problem is that, for suppose the operating system of one machine is different from the operating system of another machine, there would be multiple types of problems such as missing dependencies, library version conflicts, OS mismatch, which would cause for the application to not work on some other type of machine. So you could say that the application is platform dependent when it's deployed. So that's the main problem due to which Docker has been created. So to resolve these missing dependency issues, OS mismatch, and library version conflicts, to make it so that any application can work on any sort of machine, like without dependent on any sort of the type of machine it may be, like whether it may be Linux, whether it may be Mac, or whether it may be Windows. Docker has been created for that particular problem. The containerization solution. Docker packages an application together with everything it needs to run, making it universally portable. So what it does is that an application source, along with all the dependencies which it requires to be able to run, are made into an isolated environment such that it can be sent from one system to another system, and it can work on any sort of system without depending on the operating system or the software or that particular system. So what components are there within this container is that the first is application code, second is the runtime instances, third is the libraries and the dependencies, fourth is the configuration. So it's a package of all these four main components. So it can work on on-premise servers, it can work on developer machines, it can work on cloud architecture. So it wouldn't be dependent on any platform, like any machine. Architecture shift, virtual machines versus containers. Now let's get to know about the main difference between a virtual machine, which I think you might have heard about virtual machines a lot. Like it's one of the core features that you can have when it comes to when you are a developer. Let's get to know about the virtual machines versus the containers. So when it comes to a virtual machine, it's very heavy. Like it is going to have the package of the guest OS, like a specific operating system along with the host OS. So the amount of space, the amount of competition which would require is way higher when compared to Docker container. So due to this redundant isolation is removed when it comes to a Docker container. So Docker container is lightweight. It doesn't have these guest OS or libraries and up. But it is only going to have these main four modules, which we have discussed before: the hardware, the host OS kernel, Docker engine, libraries plus application code. So containers share these underlying host kernel. So instead of having its own operating system like a virtual machine does, Docker container doesn't have its own operating system. It is going to rely on the host OS kernel. It is going to rely on the host operating system. So the guest OS is completely eliminated when it comes to a Docker container when we compare it with an virtual machine, making it very lightweight and also fast. The core workflow mechanics. So let's get to know about the main components when it comes to the mechanics. The first is a Docker client. So when it comes to Docker client, the main commands which we use to be able to run this Docker containers are Docker build. which is going to be used to build the image, Docker pull to pull the image, Docker run to run the instance. Next is the Docker engine, which is the core which is going to run these components. So within the Docker engine, the image building happens, creating containers happens, managing network and storage happens. So all the operations which we perform within these Docker images, containers, managing network and storage are performed by the Docker engine. And the push and pull will be taken care of by the Docker engine too. So what actually happens is that this Docker image, the image we'll get to know about it in the further slides too. So I'm just going to give about a simple explanation of it. A a Docker image is nothing but a blueprint of the whole modules which we have built. So you will get to know more in the further slides about it. So Docker registry is like a storage area which is going to register these Docker images. So it is going to store and distribute the images. So it's like in a Docker Hub, for example. So Docker engine is going to push the images which are built are going to be pushed into the Docker registry, and it can also pull so that it can run these Docker images within the containers. So push in the sense it is going to be uploaded, pull in the sense it's going to be downloaded in that way. Static blueprints versus active instances. So as we have mentioned before, the Docker image is a blueprint, like it's a snapshot of the core components, like the application code, runtime, configs, and the libraries. So it's an instance where it is completely static. Like for suppose if we perform any changes, we need to rebuild the image so that those changes are reflected within the image. So we can say that this is a static blueprint where we cannot perform any operation because we need to rebuild the image if we want to perform any updates. It contains the application code, runtime, configs, and libraries. The Docker container. So the Docker container is like an isolated running instance, as we have got to know before, like what a Docker container is. Like it is going to contain all these application code, runtime, configs, libraries, and it is an isolated running instance. So it is the one where the running of the image happens. So we need to think of the image as a class and the container as an object. Efficient assembly, layers, and copy on write. So let's get to know about the copy on write mechanic when it comes to Docker. So there are three main layers when it comes to Docker, like the application code layer, dependencies layer, base OS layer. We can perform the operations only on the application code layer. So we can only read the dependencies layer and the base OS layer. So we can perform the copy on write, like update operations on the application code layer. And these operations are ensured in a way such that the new storage space is occupied only by the new updates or the new modifications which we perform, like new file creations or modifications to the code. Only those require the new storage space. And this dramatically speeds up build times and reduces disk usage because um, uh, we are performing the operations only on the application code layer, right? Like the dependencies and the base OS layer are not performed made any changes here. So when these updates are made, the build time is very less and it also reduces the disk usage. So it's like a cohesive container file system. The invisible force field, Linux namespaces. So let's get to know about Linux namespaces. So here we can see four main components, right? Like PID, which is going to isolate the process IDs, network, which isolates the interfaces and ports, user, which isolates the user privileges, like the permissions which are granted for the user, mount, which isolates the file systems. And all these components are going to have the shared host OS kernel. Applications physically share the same kernel, but the namespaces projects are an isolated reality. So what it means is that these projects are isolated from each other, such that each container is going to believe that it's entirely alone. So it's completely isolated, like it is not dependent on any other container. It's a completely isolated space, like a closed door, like a closed room. One room has is not dependent on the other room. In that way, like no connection between these two rooms. Hardware governance. So let's get to the part where hardware is involved. Here we have something which is called as control groups, which are called as C groups. So what it does is that it is going to maintain the computational resources, like managing how the resources are maintained within the containers. Like it prevents any single row container from draining the host's entire hardware capacity. It is going to restrict what a container can consume. And and the namespaces which we have discussed before, they isolate what a container can see. So what C groups mainly do is that they are going to restrict what a container can consume and also make sure that any single container does not drain the host's entire hardware capacity. So CPU allocation, disk IO, network bandwidth, memory limit, these all are maintained by the C groups, control groups. System design, networking and persistence. So let's get to know about the port mapping here. Like for suppose, within the containers, we are going to have the internal port ID. And if a user want to access it, there is going to be an external port, like for suppose 8080, which is going to have the connection with the internal port. So because of the communication point between these two ports, where the user can access the anything which is from the container according to the application, of course. And we have the Docker volumes where let's get to know about the persistent Docker volume. It is something where it maintains the state for databases, uploads, and logs beyond the container's lifecycle. And there is also ephemeral containers, which are temporary containers. Orchestrating multi-container environments. So let's get to know about the Docker Compose environment, where we have the front end, which is the web UI, back end, which is the APIs, and the database. Modern applications are distributed. Docker Compose utilizes a single YAML file to configuration, network, and start an entire ecosystem of interdependent services together as a one cohesive unit. So this is the file where all the configurations of the network of the entire ecosystem happens. Security, posture, and vulnerabilities. So let's get to know about the inherent strengths and the critical risks of the Docker. So the strengths of Docker are strict process isolation via namespaces, such that one namespace, one container is not in contact with another container. So they are completely isolated from each other. Enforced resource ceilings via C groups. Like the computation resources are controlled by the C groups, as we have discussed before. Reduced attack surface, minimal base OS, because the containers are not going to have the guest OS, right? Like virtual machine does. It is in touch with only the base OS, like the base OS kernel. Capable of non-root execution, and the critical risks are base image dependency vulnerabilities, unintended exposure via port mapping, persistent storage data leaks, complex network misconfigurations. So these are the strengths and the critical risks when it comes to Docker. The challenge of unmanaged scale. So the challenges which are when it comes to Docker are how to monitor health. Like for suppose there are many number of containers. Like the problems would be like how to monitor health, how to scale automatically, how to replace crashed instances, how to load balance traffic. Docker is flawless at packaging and running individual containers. However, at enterprise scale, manually managing thousands of ephemeral containers across hundreds of servers introduces catastrophic failure points. So these catastrophic failure points are nothing but how to load balance this traffic, how to scale automatically, how to monitor the health, how to replace crash instances. So these are the main challenges when we go for a enterprise scale. The cloud native synergy, Docker and Kubernetes. Docker, the builder, it creates and packages application containers, operates on a single node or machine, focused entirely on the application. But when it comes to the Kubernetes, it orchestrates and manages running containers, operates across massive clusters of machines, focused entirely on the infrastructure. So you could say that the Docker is a builder and the Kubernetes is the engine which is going to maintain these containers. Docker provides the packaging layer, Kubernetes provides the orchestration layer. They complement rather than compete. So these both are very important when it comes to enterprise scale, where where with Docker we are going to build these isolated containers, and the Kubernetes is going to manage, orchestrate these containers built by Docker. The blueprint realized mechanics, lightweight, shared kernel built via images and cache layers, isolation, secured and governed by Linux namespaces and cgroups, ecosystem, the fundamental building block of modern cloud native infrastructure. So this is the whole overview of Docker.